So picture this, a medieval setting sometime after the events of Legends Arceus. Let's call it the Kingdom of Unova. Throughout this kingdom, there are 18 very powerful dragons, one for each type of Pokemon. They each have their own territory. Now the king, Unova, believes that these dangerous dragons must be defeated in order for his kingdom to live without fear and so that the kingdom can expand. That was his ideal and how he thought the world should work. So he commands his royal black knights to serve this purpose, who specialize in combat and steel-type Pokemon. His wife, Queen Undella, however, believes that these dragons are mythical creatures that should not be disturbed so as to avoid upsetting the natural order of things. That was her truth that she always lived by. She leads the White Clergy, who specialize in mystical arts and fairy Pokemon. Born to them are twin sons, who eventually led each team in their parents' place, the older taking over the Black Knights and the younger taking over the White Clergy. There was also an appointed court jester, of course, who stood as an advisor as well to the king and queen. Now you as the player are a lowly peasant who aspires to become a researcher to learn more about these dragons, since it was a dragon that attacked your town when you were younger and killed your parents. The head researcher believed that dragons and humans should coexist and learn to work together in harmony, even become friends. Like with Pokemon, he tasked all the researchers to learn more about these dragons to serve this purpose. During your research expeditions, you notice that Pokemon near the dragons exhibit more draconic features the closer they are to the dragon. Upon further investigation, you realize that each dragon is protecting a powerful rock, which is the source of their power, and because of this power, these particular dragons cannot be captured. You also discover that the fragments of these rocks enable certain Pokemon to undergo a draconic evolution. As you collect fragments from each territory and Draco evolving your Pokemon, the Black Knights and the White Clergy try to stop you all over Unova. The king and queen keep a close eye on you, watching you work together with dragons and begin to realize that maybe things aren't as black and white as they thought. The twin sons, however, are still set in their ways and try to stop you. Only after defeating them in battle do they realize there is more to all this than they thought. After this battle, there were only 3 dragons left to research, one of fire, one of electricity, and lastly, one of ice. As you visit the fire and electric territories, you realize that the dragons are missing and their rocks have been destroyed with fragments scattered all throughout Unova. The king calls you to the castle and tells you he's been watching you collect fragments and work with dragons. He also lets you know that someone's been going around destroying the mythical rocks being guarded by the powerful dragons and would like to work with you to stop them. You agree. Before heading out with the twin sons and their armies, the king also asks us to keep an eye out for the jester, who has recently gone missing. Upon arriving at the Ice Mountain where the last dragon is located, we find the 3 remaining dragons in captivity, and one individual at the center of it all, the Jester. The Jester reveals he was behind the attacks and takes off his mask. Dun dun dun! The Jester was the head researcher helping you the whole time. He explains his goal was never to be friends with dragons and Pokemon, but to use them as weapons to gain ultimate power. He used us to collect all the stone fragments and intended to use them to create the ultimate dragon. So he used all the fragments he had to power up his Pokemon and take captive the remaining 3 dragons. With all the stones together, he uses them to combine the remaining 3 dragons into one all-powerful dragon, Kyurem. Now you team up alongside both the knights and the clergy, who now have draconic evolutions of their own, in an all-out war against the Jester and his all-powerful dragon. During the fight, the king and queen make the most noble of sacrifices to protect their sons from a fatal attack from the dragon. It was their dying wish that their sons see the error of looking at the world through a black and white lens, but their deaths only fuel the sons' respective drives to fight for truth and ideals respectively. And you, the player, are now there not only to stop the Jester, but also make sure the twins don't make the same mistakes as their parents. During the battle, you notice the Ice Dragon's rock is still intact. On your way to destroy it, the Jester leaves his dragon to do his bidding and challenges you to a one-on-one battle. This person basically raised you after losing your parents, and now you have to stop him before he ends the world as you know it. You defeat the Jester and destroy the rock, which weakens the all-powerful dragon long enough for the twins to finally defeat it. Once defeated, the dragon splits into the fire, ice, and lightning dragons, and Unova is saved. Unova is now completely destroyed and in ruins for the most part due to the war, but it is now saved. 2 dragons recognize the strength of the twins and join them. The 3rd dragon approaches you and also recognizes your strength and wants to join you as well. The twins take the jester back with them and soon after decide that they are too set in their ways to fully compromise, so they divide the kingdom in 2 and say their goodbyes. You head back home and are appointed head of the research in both East and West Unova. You notice that the magic powers that emanated from the dragon rock slowly were disappearing, and also their effects. Over time, Pokemon reverted back to their pre-draconic forms, and the fragment stones left behind became what we now know today as evolution stones. Now for draconic evolutions, I wasn't thinking they would work like mega evolutions, but more like regional variants. Some would be way more powerful than others, and this can be similar to how alpha Pokemon were in Legends Arceus. Draco evolving would give boosted stats and a dragon typing. This may be too repetitive for some people, but I think if we had just one game focused on dragons and it was done right, it would be okay. I also think it would be cool to see dragon variants for starters like Torchic, Turtwig, Poplio, or other Pokemon that people wish were legit dragons like Charizard, Gyarados, or Aerodactyl. Even though there would be so much dragon in this game, I feel adding back in held items, abilities, and breeding to give an added challenge would really help this game stand out. Maybe the Dragonstone fragments as held items could have unique perks if you choose to not use it as an evolution stone. People wouldn't be afraid of Pokemon in this time period, just mostly dragons, so there definitely would be more trainers around to battle. Competition is something huge during medieval times, I feel, so using Pokemon and battling would be much more celebrated. Could be how they set up online battles. I would say a highlight of this game would be the dragon boss battles. The goal is to collect stone fragments, but the dragons will make it easy for you. I imagine these fights would be like the boss fights in Arceus, but way better. You should be able to play as the Pokemon itself in a new, free-moving battle style, but you also would never actually defeat or capture the dragons because they're just too powerful. This game should be completely open world, giving the freedom to explore with level scaling, so you can take on any dragon in any order, except for the final 3 obviously. This was something I thought was truly missing from recent Pokemon games. Let the player progress through skill and not over leveling. But yeah, these are just some random thoughts I had the other day and wanted to get them out. What do you think? What would you like in a Legends Kyurem game if it ever released? Let me know your thoughts down below. If you enjoyed theory videos like this one, leave a like below and subscribe for more Pokemon content. Alright, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.